Hey everyone, this is a supplement to the webinar Candidate Experience Leveraging Automation to Generate ROI that was hosted by myself, Jeff Policcio of Allied Insight, as well as the Herefish automation team at Bullhorn. So our webinar had gone over a little bit, and these are some of the slides that unfortunately we weren't able to get to, but I wanted to make sure that you had access and could use them as a resource. Basically, the section that we didn't get to was improving the candidate experience while you're setting up all your automation. So let's get into it. Whenever you're considering improving the candidate experience, I would always recommend starting with your existing process. The reason why is that it gives you an opportunity to further outline your candidate journey, as well as assess the existing process that you've prescribed for your staffing agency. Now that said, I'll also give you, a pro tip. My recommendation would be to test these processes anonymously. The reason why I want you to test them anonymously is it removes any potential for bias, and it really gets you down to the quintessential elements of what's working, what's not, what's consistent, and what's not. Once you've done this audit, then you can overlap your journey and your process in order to identify process issues, training needs, or inconsistent delivery. It's a really good opportunity to assess those gaps at this stage. After that, you can then look to replace menial tasks that your frontline recruiters are handling. You can look to increase touch points, and you can also find opportunities to set expectations in order to improve the experience. Now, from the list that's in front of you on the screen, when you're looking at your application, that is the very first entry point for a lot of candidates with your brand. And at that stage, you can set expectations within your autoresponder. So many of you already have autoresponders in place, and you might be using the default messaging. I would encourage you to look at that messaging and align it a little bit more closely with what your brand and process is in order to be able to set those expectations for candidates and in order to improve their experience overall. An informed candidate will perform better through your process, as well as appreciate the systems that you put in place and likely result in a more positive outcome. When you have your recruiter meetings and submittals and interviews, those are great times for feedback loops. Those feedback loops will provide you the insight into how that experience went for that candidate. Again, it'll help you identify issues that you may be having with consistency or training, or it may even be able to identify some issues that you might have with your hiring managers or with your client accounts. At the end, you could look at your start and end dates, redeployments, things of that nature. Again, just to further extend offers and continue to keep that candidate engaged, even post-placement. From here, I would start to look at bundling offers. And so what I mean by this is assessing your existing offers and packaging them in a way that allows you to present them to your audience as a brand new offer. Here are some simple ways that you can kind of go about this. One is defining your process as an experience guarantee. This speaks to perhaps some of the things that you already have in place. Perhaps you already have a 24-hour callback guarantee, or maybe your firm responds to every application. You can even just share your team structure. That would be a valuable asset for the candidate to know what the process is and who they might be encountering during their journey. The next would be packaging the elements of your existing process. So, bundling these things together and branding them as an offer would allow you to take things like a LinkedIn audit, resume refresh, and maybe an application strategy and put those together in some new version of a package. The next might be something like a salary review, professional goal setting, and then career mapping. Again, these are just some ideas off the cuff, but you can certainly dig into your processes and what you offer and maybe find some other opportunities there. Last, always look to leverage your service partners. These can provide educational services or networking, anything that allows you, again, to further extend the value to the candidate while they're engaged with you. And then, quite honestly, leveraging your service partners would also strengthen your partnership with those particular vendors. So all of these things could be really valuable to the extension of the candidate experience and really improve it overall. Now, once you've resolved those first two areas of your existing process and then maybe bundling some offers, then I would look to adding new value. Now, some of these things may already be a part of your campaigns and your strategy throughout the year, but If it's not, here are some recommendations as to where you can add additional value by providing some additional resources. Salary guides are a no-brainer. First, they provide insight into what the projections of the salaries are going to be for the upcoming 12 months. That'll be really important to them as they go about looking at their career mapping. It'll also help them to understand what the market conditions look like and what the demand might be. Conversely, it also provides leads for your recruiters. So these are really good opportunities that not only extend value, but also provide leads to your staffing agency. The next might be something like a best practices tool. Again, candidates who are educated will go through your process smoother, faster, and also be more delighted by the way in which they were handled. If you have these best practices living behind a landing page, it also can provide leads for your recruiting team. Next is like an industry analysis and predictions. This here is really a matter of like providing some additional thought leadership and really flexing your expertise in the field. It also provides you an opportunity to be able to push out some PR and get some additional recognition to your brand. You can also look at something like an alumni program. Alumni programs are fantastic for individuals that have already interacted with your brand, individuals who have already been placed at a role, or even just people who have been submitted. You can at least qualify those individuals to be people that you want to keep nice and warm in your database and that you'd like to interact with again over and over. Last, what about premium access? What would you do for the individual that refers you all of their friends, or has been successfully placed on redeployments 2 or 3 times, or who's been placed into a manager role and brings you in as the preferred vendor? There may be opportunities to provide some additional value to those individuals that will really make them advocates for your brand. So to keep this short and sweet, those are the elements that were missed. Again, if you're looking for additional resources and assistance with workflow automation assessments or candidate and client engagement campaigns, lead generation campaigns, or anything sort of strategic and corporate initiative alignment, feel free to go to our website, alliedinsight.com, and connect with us. We'll be more than happy to jump on a call and see what we could do to give you a hand. Thank you so much, and good luck improving the candidate experience.